Hello and welcome. My name is Elise. Today I've got a quick card for you showing you how you can make a galaxy background really simple. If this is a technique that you struggled with like me, you see all of the really pretty galaxy backgrounds, but you just don't know how to make it work, keep watching. Okay, so I have got the Trinity Stamps Otter Space. I always want to say outer space. Otter Space, and these Swirl stencils. And we are going to start with the stencils. I have got the largest stencil on a piece of black cardstock, and I'm using Stormy Sky Distress Oxide ink to blend on top of it. One of the things I love most about Oxide inks is that you can use them on dark cardstocks. And obviously you're not going to get a true color, but you're going to, the fact that it's an ink that will sit on top of paper like that is really, really neat. So I am using Stormy Sky because I want to make a galaxy background. Now I see all of the time these really, really fancy watercolored galaxy backgrounds that take a lot of effort. No, if you're like me, you can't be bothered to do that. And it will never look like everyone else's. And so when Trinity Stamps released these stencils, I knew that I had to have them because it would make making a galaxy scene really easy. So I've got that largest swirl that I did with Stormy Sky. And then I'm going to take shaded lilac and go over that with the smaller stencil. I realized as I was working that the shaded lilac really would not provide enough of a contrast. It definitely provides a contrast, as you can see, but not enough. But I kept blending. This smaller swirl stencil has more open space on the sides. So I am using that space to fill up with the shaded lilac. But eventually I do go ahead and get wilted violet to go over that swirl to make it a little bolder. So in the end, I kind of have a purple blue swirl, which sounds weird and looks a little odd, but the final step of this stencil ties this together and it makes it look really, really cool. So just wait. You can blend this onto white cardstock. These stencils do have the negative pieces that you can use to mask. But I just thought it would be easier just to blend right onto black cardstock if I was going to ink blend black over the stencil anyways. So now we're moving on to the last step, which is this stars stencil. And I'm going to be using some texture paste and just a plastic palette knife and just spreading this on over the openings of the stencil. This is obviously going to be like little stars. You could use a white pigment ink for this, but I actually don't own a white pigment ink. It's one of those things that I don't own, but probably feel like I should. But anyways, I'm just making sure I get a good coating of this and make sure those stars look opaque as possible. I just want them to look bright white on my finished card. So I'm just going over those stars really, really carefully. Obviously, this is very sped up. I've got this 2 times sped up so that we don't just sit here and watch me ink blend forever. I want this to be a quick video. So this stencil set makes this so simple, and I never would be able to achieve this look without these stencils. So I'm very appreciative of them. Voila! Now you can see what that's going to look like, and it really does look like a galaxy sky. So from here, we are going to move on to doing some of the stamping. So I have my 2 little space otters and some of the coordinating sentiments. There's a lot of really fun sentiments in this stamp set. The one that I am going to use is the Hope Your Birthday is Otter This World. But there are lots of other fun kind of punny sentiments that you can use for this. Make it just like a hello card, or I'm using this for a birthday card. Lots of fun things you can do. For the ink, I am using Hero Arts Intense Black because I'm going to do some Copic Coloring here in a second. using my MISTI tool so I can stamp this down more than once. I do not make a card without the MISTI tool. I know that they're an investment, but I think it's something definitely worth investing in. You can see I just slide or glide over my MISTI door with my sleeves. It's pretty much why I'm always wearing long sleeves in my videos, because I know I'm going to have to glide over my MISTI door. Also, I'm always cold. All right, moving on to the Copic coloring. So I'm not doing very fancy Copic coloring. These suits are a combination of different N markers, so N8, 6, and 4, and then 2 and 0 as well. So I'm just going to shade in the darker areas like the bands that you can see, like the bottom of their helmets, the little space booties. And then I will use the 2 and the 0 just to add some shading to the suit. I want it to look white, but I do want to add some shading. Then I will color the little control panel on the boy otters blue and on the girl otters purple. It's only a girl otter because if you look really closely, she's got some little eyelashes, which I think is a really fun touch. And then I just color in the otters with E43, 41, and 40 with a little bit of R20 thrown in there for some cheeks and for like the little mouth part of the otter. I don't know about you guys, but since the SpaceX launch, I feel like in my house we've talked a lot more about space and watched space shows, and it's kind of been a lot of fun. And I think just in the times of current days, what we're living in, it's a little bit of an escape as well, and something that I feel like kind of ratified everybody together, at least those of us in the States, that, you know, we were going to send astronauts to the space station. I don't know. It kind of inspired me today, though, because I looked at this stamp set and was like, oh, outer space. I need to make an outer space card. And I think this is going to be a really cute card to send to a family member for their birthday. So I had a lot of fun with this set. But as I talked about before, I think the star of the show really is that background and the stencils that you can use to create that background really, really easily. I just left in the Copic coloring because I know so many of you like to watch Copic coloring. So I've left it in here. Hopefully you find it useful. I don't do anything fancy, as you all know. I color from darkest to lightest. Plain and simple. Just going to finish up that coloring and then we can move on to card assembly. So I've got all of my pieces die cut here, and I've cut out my background. Now, while I'm gluing on my background to my card base, this is just going to be an A2 size card. I will say that in the die set for this stamp set, there are all of the coordinating word dies. They are all separate, and for honestly timing today, it was just easier for me to just cut these down into strips. But I do really like the look of the individual words, and I like that there are dies for all of the individual words, so that you can kind of mix up your sentiments, make them your own. You don't have to use the sentiments as they're given to you, and you can get a different look from them. So I do appreciate that. Now I'm just laying out how I want my card to look. And once I kind of know how I'm going to place everything down, I just used foam tape to adhere all of this down. So both of the sentiments and the little otters, you're watching me add those down now. And that completes my card. It was a pretty easy one today. All in all, this took me just over half an hour, which for me is a pretty quick card. So I know that this would be an easy one for you all to replicate at home. If you would like to see more videos from me, please consider subscribing and hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.